Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What's happening? Happy Felt Hat Friday. It's straw season, so even though it's Felt Hat Friday, I'm wearing straw. Thanks to my friends at Pro Hats, pro-hats.com. Use Anthony RUPH for 10% off. Today's topic, I try to avoid being overly political on my daily truths. This is for inspiration and motivation, but sometimes with the words "the daily truth," feel the need to break it down. And in today's daily truth, I want to be very clear. I don't care which way you vote. I don't, but I want people to understand what happened yesterday and why it was what I would deem a dark day in America. And I know many people could say that about January 6th and they do whatever they do and all these different things. But I want to be clear with the problems of the court case in general against Donald Trump. And I'm not telling anybody to like him or dislike him. I really don't care. Again, we here in America are free to disagree. We can agree to disagree. So like this video, share this video, do all the things with this video. I want some people to jump in next week. By the way, I don't know if it's going to be Monday or Tuesday. But come prepared with some quotes because I am going to take some quotes, which is what we do at the beginning of my speaking webinars on Wednesday night, my free webinars. And we get a quote and then we take that quote and we make that quote our own. So be ready to bring some quotes. It might be Monday, it might be Tuesday. Just have that ready. So let me get into this. I'm not going to make it too long. I just want to be clear on why, because I've seen so much on the internet. I see people on the right getting up in arms, angry. What do we do? This is and then people on the left literally celebrating, putting pictures up of Stormy Daniels saying "my hero." Mind-boggling. People. I'm going to break it down as quickly as possible so people understand exactly why that trial was something that isn't supposed to be seen in America. Why people call it a kangaroo court or a bastardization of the political system. So first off, the judge should not have ever been on that trial. The judge should have recused himself. But because our country gives so much carte blanche to judges, they're the ones that have to do it, and they can't be pulled from the bench. Judge Marchand was actually slapped on the wrist for still being a part of the trial based on his ties to Biden and the anti-Trump organizations. Judge Marchand gave $2,000 directly to an anti-Trump campaign called Stop Trump. That's very odd for a judge that's being a part of it. He was actually not part of the pool of judges that should have been selected by the DA, Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg, whose campaign received funds from an Act Blue organization that received massive amounts of fund from George Soros. This is actual truth. So again, this is the daily truth. This is not me talking about my political beliefs. This is why I do believe that this was a dirty trial. So then you've got a judge and you say, well, what does the judge have to do? It's a jury trial. Well, the judge didn't allow information to counter Michael Cohen's testimony. Michael Cohen, by the way, was the linchpin that all of the prosecution rested its need to convict on, even though the judge did say you can't convict on Cohen alone, but as long as you have corroborating evidence. So the judge did a couple things. Didn't allow the actual counter from the defense for Michael Cohen to be in the courtroom because he didn't believe their legitimacy, which is ironic because Michael Cohen has actually been accused and convicted of lying at all levels to a judge, to a jury, to the actual legislative branch of our government. He has been found guilty of lying, but apparently in this case he wasn't, and he wasn't allowed to be refuted by Judge Marchand. Lastly, Judge Marchand provided an example to the jury that for the first time in legal history, they didn't have to agree on what he was guilty of, but as long as they felt he was guilty of something, it didn't matter for the counts. That just became a unanimous. They could all have had, if they believed he was guilty of one of the three things in the different areas out of the 34 different charges, that they could just say guilty. Didn't have to be specific. This is unfounded. So needless to say, this is not what the court system and judicial system, should be able to do, and specifically on a political opponent. So that's why today, I believe, is a dark day. Yesterday was a dark day in America. And again, I don't think you have to be a Trump supporter. I don't think anybody has to be anything, but you have to understand the truth. And the truth of what happened yesterday was that the reason why people are yelling it's a sham is because it was. There's no way to look at it. If Biden would have been tried in the same court in the exact same way with a completely biased judge and a completely biased DA in a completely biased district in a completely biased system where you're not allowed to speak out and your mouth is shut, and you're bringing in like somebody like a Stormy Daniels, who again I see on people's pages, people celebrating like a hero. This is a woman that perjured herself on the stand. And I say that not as a state of opinion, but as a fact. This woman out and out said that she was not essayed years ago. She out and out said specific things and said that it wasn't true. And then all of a sudden on stand to besmirch the character of Trump, because again, nothing she said would actually make him guilty of this. She had nothing that actually all it was character assassination for the purposes of the jury, and the judge allowed it. There's one other thing that I wanted to be clear of that was a little off. Judge, jury. Oh man, what am I missing? There's one other item that makes this very, very difficult to not see through. I talked about Mershon, also the thing with Mershon, I talked about the $2,000 he gave to the Trump against Trump. His daughter also profits greatly based on the company that she works for that literally deals in Democrat nominees' campaigns. She makes money by Trump being put away. I think that's a really big deal to make sure you look at. There's one more thing with the way the judge did the trial, and I can't remember, but I think that's enough. I really hope that that's enough for you to realize, for people to realize that this was not a trial on the up and up. And it's frustrating because you see people get so excited. And I'll tell you, I have people on the left that 2 weeks ago saying, yeah, this is a pretty weak trial. This seems a little bit silly. Oh, here's what it was. Sorry, last thing. Also, these are all misdemeanors. So the reason why the DA matters, on top of the fact that the hand selection of a anti-Trump judge, the DA, Alvin Bragg, is took these crimes that were misdemeanors, that were past the statute of limitations, and actually made them felonies so that the statute of limitations was no longer valid. And ironically enough, it's an election year where one is running for re-election. I don't know how people don't see through this. And people go, well, this is the justice system. The justice system works. You could look at a Democrat, Rod Blagojevich, that was communicated. His sentence was communicated by Donald Trump. He's a Democrat. His sentence was communicated because of George Bush. And trust me, I am not a lifelong Republican in any way, shape, or form. I think the Bush family is as corrupt as any leftist family in the country. I will say that. I think government is corrupt across the board. But Rod Blagojevich's sentence was communicated by a Republican president, Donald Trump. And Rob spoke on this yesterday. He was the beginning of this, where he was tried, found innocent, and then retried again by a Bush-appointed judge. And for something very similar happened. And now he just says, now you're seeing it on a much higher level with Donald Trump. And it goes both ways. The pendulum swings both ways. And in any way, shape, or form, what we saw from Rod Blagojevich to Donald Trump today is a complete breakdown of our justice system, what it means to be an American, and the fact that they can now come after anybody. We have kangaroo courts and we become a banana republic. And it should be scary for anyone out there to realize this. That's my daily truth. That's it. And that's the truth in under 10 minutes today. So hope you like this video. Again, I don't love to get political, and I'm literally not taking a political stance on this. I think many people that know me know how I feel about a lot of different things. This is literally just explaining the truth of what happened. And when I see people celebrating, I see people getting mad on one side, understandably so, because I just broke down why it's wrong. And then people on the other side celebrating what was a complete just aberration of justice, just an absolute miscarriage of justice. When I see that that celebration, it rocks me, because it shows how brainwashed we've become to just hate a person without being able to explain why. Celebrities are allowed to talk also. I said this yesterday. Celebrities can talk all they want. Just instead of ad hominems, give me reasons why. Like, what did he do exactly to make this a case that should be prosecuted to start, let alone convicted? And it will be overturned as long. People say it'll be overturned, and I think it will be. But at the end of the day, who knows how far the corruption goes? But nothing in this case screams justice system. It screams political persecution. So, and I know I've got a lot of leftist followers and Democrat followers, and that's why I'm being very clear that today is not about motivation, inspiration, perspiration. This is about literally the daily truth. The daily truth today is what happened yesterday was a very serious day, and it's not good for anybody. Shouldn't be celebrating it. And for those on the right, don't, I even talked about this yesterday. Don't go protest. Don't go run in the street. Don't go do whatever, because trust me, something inside of me saw the injustice. So I was like, got to do something. But I think we can see based on a lot of different aspects that that's a setup. Both sides get set up when it comes to protesting. The left gets set up to protesting. The right gets set up to protesting. Black Lives Matter protests during that summer, bricks were positioned in the city to create chaos. And I can guarantee you the same thing happens to the right in this instance. January 6th, perfect example. If you believe something is wrong, you show up at the voting box. You show up to vote on November 5th. That's it. Show up and vote, Casey. There it is. God bless, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Remember, don't surrender your pets. Don't be a garbage human. Have a great weekend. I know, not the usual pep talk heading to the weekend, and I'm also about 7 minutes long. God bless, guys. Have a great rest of your day.